Oh boy, what a fun game. I can't wait to play this and nothing but this for the next 10 years. I just kind of wanted to talk about the journey of Mario Kart 8 for a decade. This is pretty wild. And of course, the way games work these days, how long it takes games and series to come out, that's been consistently changing each and every year. Games that would come out one every year now come out every 2 years or 3 years or whatever. They'll take some time off or they just need more time in the oven. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Madden turned into a bi-yearly franchise. But Mario Kart used to be kind of like every 3 years or so, we'd get a new Mario Kart. At least when we go from Mario Kart DS, which was 2005, to Mario Kart Wii, 2008, Mario Kart 7, 2011, to Mario Kart 8 in 2014. You know, we were roughly on a 3-year wait for each entry. But I think we've had to wait so long after Mario Kart 8's release, just because of how Nintendo is doing, where Nintendo's at. It just hasn't really made sense to put out a new Mario Kart, which is weird to say. I mean, it does make sense, but it also doesn't, you know? Like, it makes sense because it's just like, well, no shit, I want a new Mario Kart. But at the same time, you see where Nintendo was, where Nintendo is, where Nintendo's gonna be. And, you know, it never really made sense for a brand new Mario Kart to release when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was doing so damn well. But let's talk about the whole ass history of this game here. So this was formally announced in 2013. Iwata originally just kind of announced it just softly, just saying a new Mario Kart's in development, and everybody just you know, slapped their hands on their cheeks, did an O face, and screeched, "A new Mario Kart on Wii U? What?" Pretty wild. Nobody was expecting that. They pretty much announced that as a way to you know, calm people down. But it was pretty much like saying, like, hey, calm down. Your Wii U is powered by electricity. Just making one of the most obvious damn statements of all time. Of course a new Mario Kart is being developed for the Wii U. Why wouldn't it be? And they said it would be formally unveiled at E3. And E3 2013 came, and honestly, Mario Kart 8 was kind of the surprise star of the show, at least visually. I'm gonna be honest, when Mario Kart 7 released, like, I still loved it, you know, like, it's Mario Kart. Of course I'm gonna like Mario Kart, but Mario Kart always kind of felt like a tried and true at that point. Something that you know you're gonna pick up, you know you're gonna play a lot, but something you weren't necessarily like over the moon ecstatic about, at least for me and a lot of the critics online that I was following at the time. It was something where it's just like, I really like this game, but it was never like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. It was Mario Kart. It's another Mario Kart. That's what it is. And that especially felt true with Mario Kart 7. Mario Kart 7 is good, but at the same time, you know, like, I look back at that and I'm just like, that is one of the most forgettable entries in this whole series. It's good, it plays great, but my lord. And I think the franchise had that stigma for me at the time, mainly because I never really felt like Nintendo treated them as the blockbuster game they truly were. They always looked nice, they sounded nice, they played nice, but like, that was it. They never went really beyond that. Mario Kart Wii especially, like, that game, I never liked how it looked. You have this like gross bloom effect on everything. Everything looks like it's radioactive in that game. Or like you have to rub your eyes because it's a little blurry. And music-wise, you know, you were seeing games like Super Mario Galaxy and Skyward Sword incorporate orchestral tracks. You know, music performed live and recorded rather than something you know, make on a computer. You look at Smash Brothers, which was Nintendo's other tentpole multiplayer franchise, and Smash Brothers always looked substantial. It looked expensive for a Wii game. Smash Brothers Brawl, that is. And then you look at the music in that game, and it's all like just filled to the brim with live orchestral pieces. And then Mario Kart Wii is out here with goddamn like Koopa Cape, and like, sure, I'm gonna walk down the aisle to that song, but still. That's not to say any of this is bad, but it just always felt like Mario Kart was treated like just any other Mario spin-off, when it's obviously much more than that. But it almost felt like Nintendo was treating Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS at the same standards as like Mario Tennis or Mario Golf. So it was just kind of hard to get super excited about Mario Kart games for me at the time. But then Mario Kart 8 was revealed and had some of the best visuals of any Nintendo game. It was about damn time a Mario Kart looked this good. It was incredible. The lighting, the model quality, the tracks themselves, they all looked incredible, especially the returning tracks. This is something I sincerely appreciated. Back in Mario Kart DS, Wii, and 7, the retro tracks in those games, while a very welcome addition, they always, I'm like, who the hell were you fooling with these? As a kid, they always looked like identical to how I originally remembered them looking from their base game. Obviously, playing through these retro tracks now, I can see, the changes they made, the upgrades they made, sometimes the downgrades, but, I know they were rebuilt fully. But at the same time, they didn't really do a lot of work to fully remaster them. It's kind of like how I look at returning stages in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Obviously, they rebuilt some of those stages and they touched them up, but they still look pretty outdated. They don't look like they really have evolved to look like a brand new stage. They still obviously reek of being from an old-ass game. Mario Kart 8, though, these returning tracks genuinely looked like they stood toe-to-toe with the new ones, and I really appreciated that. Not only did it make it, really damn cool, if you remembered that track and you were fond of that track, to see it, fully remade in HD and all of its glory, but also, hey, it looks like a new track, so fundamentally, it's not like you're getting 16 new tracks and 16, lesser tracks. It's more so you're getting just 32 great tracks in general. But the big gimmick that they showcased at E3 2013 was the anti-gravity mode. This was the big selling point of Mario Kart 8, when you see Mario's wheels flip on its side and he's going on the damn ceiling. Didn't make a damn difference. I mean, it did, but the way Nintendo always marketed anti-gravity in Mario Kart 8 was always like, whoa, you're driving on the walls, this is insane. In practice, obviously they're not going to flip the camera that much. They're gonna keep the camera where it belongs. But, when you will notice, oh, wow, I'm actually on the ceiling here. But many times you don't even notice when you go on the ceiling. You have to look for it. Now, that may seem like a bad thing, but it more so creates a very subtle but effective gimmick in Mario Kart 8, in my opinion. What it comes down to is the track design is incredible in this game. It is so cool, because they don't have to abide by the laws of physics. You can go on the walls, on the ceiling. These tracks can go all around. And, it doesn't need to be a spectacle. It can just make it a more interesting layout. So it adds up to Mario Kart 8 having some of the coolest damn tracks in all of Mario Kart. And that's not even considering the theming of the track and the art design of the track. No, this is considering just how fun it is as a layout. And I think that is very important here. Other stuff that they detailed at E3 2013 was the fact that Waluigi is back. For some reason in Mario Kart 7, they cut Waluigi, even though Waluigi Pinball is in the game. It's tragedies like that that just make life interesting. So I'm all in favor of dumb shit like that happening. I don't know, man. Yeah, he's back in Mario Kart 8. They also detailed Mario Kart TV, which was pretty much, it was kind of a big deal, I guess. Mario Kart TV is thrown into the pile of endless Nintendo gimmicks that they make a big deal about before the game releases, but don't matter whatsoever when the game actually releases. Kind of remember Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, how they made a big deal about a special move you can perform in the game? The Kong Pow. Of course you don't remember that. Who the hell cares? But Nintendo thought you would. By the way, let's talk about the naming here. The fact that Mario Kart 7 was called Mario Kart 7, and this one was called Mario Kart 8. Yeah, I always found it very strange that Nintendo decided to start naming the Mario Karts at that point. Okay, it kind of makes sense. What are you gonna call Mario Kart on the 3DS? Mario Kart 3DS? You can't pull the same trick twice with that. I don't know if any game on the 3DS is actually named blank 3DS. There's a lot called blank 3D and whatnot, but I think Nintendo probably has like some titling restrictions. Like they probably had some rules in place. There's a reason why like no game is really called blank 3DS. There's games titled blank for Nintendo 3DS or blank Nintendo 3DS edition or whatever, but nothing called blank 3DS, how games on DS and Wii were called blank DS, blank Wii. And I think Nintendo themselves don't want to call something that isn't a remake or a port blank 3D. You know, they had Ocarina of Time 3D, Star Fox 64 3D, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. They probably didn't want to call Mario Kart 7 Mario Kart 3D. And then on top of that, Mario Kart 7 just doesn't really have any defining characteristics that you could put into like a subtitle. By land, by air, by sea. I don't know. They introduced the glider and underwater driving in that game. I don't know. So I think they were just kind of like put into a corner with that game. They were like, it's Mario Kart 7. And then this one, I believe during their E3 2013 developer direct for this game, which I love that they did that. That's something Nintendo didn't really do a ton after that, where they had multiple like 10-minute videos for many of the games that they were showcasing at E3 that year, where developers from those titles just sat there and just talked about the game, and I really like that. But Mario Kart 8, I believe they explained why it's called Mario Kart 8, and they said it looked like a Mobius strip, like one of the stages in the game, which would have been Mario Circuit. And then they said, oh, that looks like an 8. Well, damn it, let's call it Mario Kart 8. I've noticed a strange synergy between the Mario Kart handheld games and the home console games that kind of correlate with them. Mario Kart Super Circuit and Mario Kart Double Dash, well, those are kind of the pair you'd combined together. They were from the same generation, you know, and they both had a subtitle that was two words. And Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart Wii, okay, subtitle was just the system names, and then Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8. I don't know if that's something that they intentionally did, but it is pretty interesting. Either way, Mario Kart 8 was slated for a spring 2014 release date. God damn it. Yeah, that was really concerning at the time, mainly because I think I was kind of looking at Nintendo's lineup here and hoping, praying that they would do something similar to what happened with the Nintendo 3DS. In 2011, the 3DS was hurting hard after a pretty lame-ass launch. $250, no good software. So only a few months in, Nintendo was like, all right, slash the price. And that holiday season, Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 released. This time, the Wii U was already still overpriced at $350. And they weren't talking any price cuts. And Mario 3D World was slated for the holiday season. And Mario Kart was coming out in pretty much 1 year. Yeah, that seemed like too long of a wait, unfortunately. That just seemed like, you know, it would have been great if Mario Kart could have made 2013. Would have been amazing. But yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. And that seemed like a pretty long wait for Mario Kart. But regardless, we got some consistent trailers for Mario Kart 8 starting in December of 2013. That was the next time we saw anything from that game there. And every single trailer we saw from that point forward, the game just kept on looking better and better. The Mario Kart TV functionality here, that was used in pretty much all the trailers, where you were able to get like some really good angles of the action. It was really cool because pretty much these trailers were like an indirect advertisement of the Mario Kart TV feature, because you could make your own Mario Kart 8 official trailers with Mario Kart TV in the game. The trailers were really exciting, really fun, and they just showed off some badass new tracks, returning tracks, and new characters. So I think the big one was in February of 2014, we got a Nintendo Direct with a brand new Mario Kart trailer, and this is where they showcased the new addition to the game, the Koopalings. Son of a bitch. Yeah, so at this point, Mario Kart 8 didn't really showcase a ton of like amazing brand new spanking characters. It's pretty much been like the characters that we always already knew about. Kind of like the big character revealed in the December 2013 trailer was just Rosalina, and that was kind of coinciding with the fact that Rosalina was just also announced for Smash Brothers for Wii U. But in February 2014, the big addition was all 7 Koopalings. So at the time, this was pretty cool. This was like, oh my god, they're adding 7 new characters, all 7 of the Koopalings? And that was before we realized that's pretty much where all of their work went into. My god, that sucks. The Mario franchise has so many characters you can pull from, so many amazing choices. I mean, something as simple as like Professor Egad. That would be badass. Or you can dig deep into some stupid ass Mario Party characters, man. Koopa Kid. I would have wanted Koopa Kid instead of all these Koopalings. But at the time, before knowing what the final roster was, like, this was really cool. This was like, oh my god, 7 new characters? That's unbelievable. And then sometime in March to April, they had this brand new trailer drop randomly, showcasing like Mario Kart Stadium, N64 Rainbow Road, and a couple new items. And this was also when press were able to have hands-on time with the game. And that's when I saw a lot of previews come out, people talking about it via podcasts and all of that. The new items were pretty cool. You had Piranha Plant, Boomerang, both elements kind of from Mario 3D World. I mean, Boomerang was introduced in Super Mario 3D Land, and the Piranha Plant acted very similarly to the potted Piranha Plant you could pick up in Mario 3D World. But that was cool. I mean, every trailer that they showed was getting cooler and cooler. But then we get to the Mario Kart Direct. This was another thing that just randomly dropped, and this was really cute. It was mainly like a 30-minute long just string of skits related to Mario Kart 8. They didn't really reveal like a ton of information here, but what they did was at least like showcase the final elements of the game, you know, the final new tracks that they haven't shown off yet, primarily Bowser's Castle and Rainbow Road. The final new items, which was just the Super Horn and the Crazy 8. Stupid ass number. The final new playable characters, they sucked ass, and some promotions they were doing, like a Wii U bundle and a Club Nintendo promotion, which would be if you registered Mario Kart 8, you know, within the launch period on Club Nintendo, you would get the opportunity to download one of 4 free Wii U games. And these are substantial games. It was like New Super Mario Bros. U, Pikmin 3, Wind Waker HD, and like Wii Party U. And like, my lord, now Europe got way better options. They got like a ton of them. But still, at least here in North America, I mean, like those are substantial games. And at the very least also, those were kind of like the only major Wii U games up to that point that were like worth owning outside of like Mario 3D World. So either way, that was pretty cool. And I remember I pre-ordered this game on Amazon, and I got it day of. It was late May 2014. School was just getting out. This was like the end of my sophomore year of high school. And yeah, man, like this is something I have a lot of nostalgia for. Can you tell? So I come home, and this was back when you pre-ordered a game on Amazon, like it was coming day of, no matter what. These days, if I pre-order a game on Amazon, it's coming like 3 days later, which is fine. Most of the time, if I really, really want a game, I'll download it beforehand. But this was perfect for me because it's literally like, you know, I was at school, I came home, it was on the front porch, I got Mario Kart 8 immediately, popped that sucker in, and wow. Never before did a Mario Kart game ever wow me in the audio and visual department. This game looked amazing, and it sounded even better. The soundtrack in Mario Kart 8, and Mario Kart has always had some great soundtracks. I need to make sure you hear me when I say that. The Mario Kart soundtracks have always been phenomenal, but at this point, like, this was when, like, okay, boom, they really started treating Mario Kart as the blockbuster game that it always was, you know? Like, fully orchestrated, like, this amazing sounding music, the best Mario Kart music has ever sounded. I fell in love with it. And yeah, man, I just cruised through all the Grand Prix, played this game to death. However, it obviously had a couple of downsides, and one of the downsides that was mentioned in like some of the final previews that the press did, you know, this was around the time of the Mario Kart 8 Direct. It was battle mode, man. Battle mode was pretty pretty fucking bad. They didn't have time. They didn't have time to make an actual battle mode. To be fair, battle mode has kind of been on the downward ever since like probably like Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart DS has a good battle mode. You just have to blow into the damn mic to get your balloons. That's stupid. But yeah, Mario Kart Wii doing the whole team thing and it's all timed. That's good for like online, but it wasn't an option, you know. That was the only way battle mode was played in Mario Kart Wii. Then Mario Kart 7 was pretty similar. At least you weren't on teams this time, but it still was like it's timed and And Mario Kart 8, I think it's very obvious, like, they just ran out of time, and it wasn't the priority. Most people don't really care about battle mode. And I gotta say, you know, battle mode was stupid fun when I was a kid. However, you know, playing it these days, even a good battle mode, it just doesn't feel the same, you know? Even if I'm going back to, like, Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Double Dash, all of that, and I'm playing the battle mode in those games, I'm still having a good time. It's still fun. But, you know, I've kind of transitioned over to just fully to being like, yeah, I prefer the racing. So much of the battle mode is just like, okay, I gotta turn around, I gotta turn around, I gotta turn around. And it just becomes a bit, I don't know, it's not as fun as just pure racing in Mario Kart for me these days. Back when I was a kid, oh, hell yeah, I love battle mode. So Mario Kart 8, when I saw the battle mode in this game, like, yo, bricks? I shit those. They did this in like the worst possible way, man. It was literally just like the standard tracks from the basic racing game. Just tracks I guess the development team picked for like, oh yeah, this would work fine in like normal battle mode. This is like small enough and circular enough. It was like shit like Toad Harbor. What the hell are you doing here, man? Yeah, battle mode was pretty stupid, pretty bad. Pretty damn bad. And in addition, you could see like areas where they were kind of cutting back on time, cutting costs. There was no award ceremony in this game. You know, most of the time when you finish a Grand Prix or finish a series of races in Mario Kart, you get a big moment where like your characters are on the podiums and cheering. You get the trophies. You don't get that here. You pretty much have like a highlight reel and then it goes into just a 3D spin of the trophy. Which honestly, like, really takes a lot of the character out of Mario Kart 8. I kind of look at Mario Kart 8 sometimes and I go like, what's your deal? Like, what is your personality like? And it's hard to nail down, man. It looks beautiful. It's the best feeling game in the franchise, really. Yeah, like, just not having that little element of like an award ceremony makes it kind of tricky. Now, it might not have been like a cost-cutting / time-saving measure. It could have been just like, hey, Mario Kart TV is a big element of this game, so let's make sure you see it at the end of every single Grand Prix. That would make sense. But, you know, combining with the lack of battle mode and all of that, like, I think it's pretty obvious, like, they were right up to the very last minute with this game. But I kind of want to talk about a couple annoyances with this game at launch. Do you all remember the fact that you couldn't display the map for any of the tracks on the screen, on the TV screen? The map was always on the gamepad. Why? Couldn't do that. When you would finish a race, the menu would be selecting view highlight reel before next. So oftentimes when you would finish a race, you would accidentally hit view highlight reel. Something big a lot of people didn't like was the one item limit in this game. That was a big mechanic, and I like that mechanic, man. So pretty much most Mario Kart games, when you run into an item box, you can hold like a shell or a banana behind you, and then that opens up your item slot for you to run into another item box and then get another item in reserve. And that never really felt like it was truly an element of the game. It almost kind of felt like you were cheating the system. I'm not saying you were cheating the system, and I know for a fact it was something that the developers were like, yeah, let them do that. That's a good strategy. But it always kind of felt like you were being crafty. Kind of felt like you were cheating. Mario Kart 8 tosses that mechanic to the side, and I like it. Not because I don't like that mechanic, but it makes this game different. That's part of the reason that for a while there, I was just like, I'm fucking sick of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Just, I want a new Mario Kart. Not because I necessarily am like, oh, this could be so much better. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is pretty fucking amazing. But at the same time, I'm just give me a new Mario Kart and tweak the physics or something. Just give me something new to do. All I need is a little something different, and it really helps just make something a little fresh. You know, there's so much more strategy with that item mechanic in Mario Kart 8. And I really like it. It's kind of a cool risk versus reward because they also introduced the stupid ass coin item in the game. So yeah, when you run into an item box, you have to kind of think like, do I want to drop my item that I currently have to get a potentially new item, or do I want to hold on to this item because that potentially new item might just be a coin and I might just be completely open to fire. I really like that risk versus reward. I do like it quite a bit. Then we also have the character roster. Sure, it was the largest Mario Kart character roster at the time, but it was, there just wasn't much variety, man. I mean, like literally like what? Like 20% of the damn roster were the Koopalings. Probably like 10% were fucking babies. It was dumb as hell, man. It was just like, there wasn't a lot of zazz to it. You look at something like Mario Kart Double Dash and like, man, like there's some stupid ass characters in that, but I like it. The characters here just kind of felt like the most generic Mario stuff and the lamest generic Mario stuff. I would take fucking Spike, Monty Mole, I don't care. No, it's Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Daisy, Baby Peach, Baby Rosalina, which doesn't make any canonical sense. And then, of course, you have Metal Mario returning from Mario Kart 7 and the infamous Pink Gold Peach. Why is Pink Gold Peach hated so much? Because she's fucking lame. That's the main thing, man. Metal Mario is at least a reference to Mario 64, and Metal Mario has been a part of like Mario games before and since and all that stuff. But Pink Gold Peach was made specifically for Mario Kart 8 and was just supposed to be like the Metal Peach counterpart to Metal Mario. It's just stupid, man. But man, the track lineup in this game. I will go on record and say Mario Kart 8 has the best track lineup of any Mario Kart game. And that's before like all the DLC, all that stuff. Like the 32 tracks in the base package here are amazing. There's only like a couple of tracks in this game that I would say are just kind of lame. They're not bad, but I'm like, I don't really want to. I just don't care about them. Like something like Bone Dry Dunes, Grumble Volcano, and like those aren't bad tracks. I don't dislike them, but like I just don't care about them in comparison to the others. But even then, like those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head that I'm like, yeah, I don't really give a damn about those. And that is really good. Now, the Mario Kart TV feature is cool. They advertise being able to upload your clips to YouTube, which was a neat little extra thing you could do. But there was like a bunch of whatever restrictions with it. Whatever. If you're uploading stuff to YouTube, just get an Elgato and you're gonna be able to do like way better stuff. Like there is never gonna be anything in a Mario Kart TV highlight reel that I'm like, oh boy, I better show that to YouTube without wanting to like edit it myself. And I understand a lot of people are like, you know, they aren't savvy into that kind of stuff. They just want to upload their stuff to YouTube. I get that. But I implore you, mainly because I just want everybody to be a little creative and just have some fun with stuff. Invest in game capture devices to do this stuff. If you have ever felt the need to do this kind of thing, mess around with it. Be creative. Have fun. Don't just use Mario Kart 8's YouTube upload tool. But yeah, I personally feel like Mario Kart 8 had like a pretty decent amount of content, but it just kind of felt like it reached the bare minimum. You know, like it had the 32 tracks. That's kind of it, honestly. I mean, like this game in its raw state is a bit lacking in that regard. The core gameplay is at its best in Mario Kart 8. Like it feels so good to play this. Like this is Mario Kart at its best. Visually, gameplay-wise, soundtrack-wise. But in terms of content, you play through the Grand Prix and then you just play multiplayer, and that's literally it. But man, that is what I did. Throughout the rest of the summer in 2014, I mean, like I look back at this era and, you know, it's a little sad to be like so dependent on being a Wii U owner for like all my nostalgia. I'm nostalgic over other things, I swear. That was when I was like 16, moving into 17. So like, you know, like I'm still like in high school. I'm at my first job and, you know, I'm staying busy with that. And when I come home from my job, I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm gonna rock on Mario Kart 8 online multiplayer for a bit. And yeah, this was kind of my go-to online game. And it was just a good time to be like a Nintendo fan and like a teenager at the time. You know, there was a lot of cool stuff going on with Nintendo Smash Brothers speculation and all of that too. it was an entertaining time. I could do my normal human being stuff and then come home and hunch over and do my gremlin shit on the computer and look up what's going on with Smash Brothers tonight. But as a nice little, like, hey, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna just play a game, Mario Kart 8 was perfect for that. I loved playing online with this, and I got pretty good at the game. Honestly, I ended up getting, like, really good. I wouldn't say really good. Never mind, I sucked ass. Yeah, this was my go-to multiplayer game for a while there. And thankfully, I didn't have to wait long to see new content coming my way. Now, you may be expecting me to talk about the DLC packs that got introduced. However, there was a little bit of something before that. Mercedes-Benz, anybody? Yeah, that was a bit of a silly little thing to debate whether or not Mercedes-Benz fit into the concept of Mario Kart. This was like the first ever real-life promotional item we saw in a Mario Kart game. I think the closest we ever got before this was the Mario Barrow cigarette advertisement in Mario Kart 64, and I think that was even cut from the North American release. So either way, this was unheard of, and yeah, it's a little weird. I don't think it breaks the game. I don't think it breaks immersion or whatever, or feels like completely out of place, because like it's whatever. It's another car part in the game. That's all they are. But it's just a strange, like, cross-promotional thing. However, the Mercedes-Benz DLC was a completely free update, and that came alongside some fixes to a couple of the, major issues with the game. They swapped the menu options, then it doesn't just view highlight reel instead of next. Now it auto-selected to next. You could also put the map on the TV screen. There's a bunch of little fixes that made it an overall much better experience. However, this wasn't core substantial DLC. That stuff came later down the line in November of 2014, but it was announced in the summer, and it was one of the greatest DLC packs of all time. There were 2 waves of the DLC. Each pack came with 3 new characters, 4 new vehicles, and 8 new tracks, and was $8. But then you could also get a bundle where you got Pack 1 and Pack 2 for $12. The math guy was at a Nintendo that day, and if you get the bundle, you got like differently colored Yoshis and Shy Guys. Like, what? And that's just the tip here. I mean, like, these packs were primarily focused on being Nintendo crossover. So Pack 1 was mostly based around The Legend of Zelda, and then Pack 2 was mostly based around Animal Crossing, with a couple extra things like an F-Zero track, an Excite Bike course, all that kind of stuff. This was incredible. Like Nintendo didn't really detail Mario Kart 8 DLC until after it launched. Of course, like, they detailed the Mercedes-Benz DLC beforehand, naturally. But the full plans for paid DLC came like a month or 2 after the game initially launched. After they detailed how the game was gonna get amiibo support, they didn't really say how, but they announced that at E3 2014. So it was obvious this game was getting updates in some form. It's very similar to how Nintendo talked about DLC with Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U. They kind of kept dancing around the fact that DLC was in the game. They kind of offered like a free little update thing. They announced like, hey, the Miiverse stage in Smash Wii U, that's going to be a free update later down the line. Then they said how Mewtwo was going to be DLC only for those who buy the Wii U and 3DS games and register them on Club Nintendo. That was it. They didn't say anything about DLC afterwards or anything like that. But these little tidbits showed Nintendo is going to update this game with new content. Why the hell won't they do paid DLC? And it's pretty obvious they were working on this stuff for quite a while beforehand. I mean, the fact is, like, a month or 2, like, after the game launched, they had like full screenshots of Link in the game, the new courses, like they knew all the new characters they would add. Like, and like, yeah, okay, a character in Mario Kart, how long does that take to craft? I mean, if it takes longer than 2 years, I'd be surprised. But it seems obvious that like this content was in the works for a bit there. Wow, like, what content was this? Nintendo crossover content. This is the kind of stuff that everybody had kind of hoped would be in Mario Kart eventually. And, you know, we got very small bits of it, strangely enough. Like, the Blue Falcon from F-Zero was a kart in Mario Kart Wii. Characters like Rob were in Mario Kart DS. You know, Namco characters like Pac-Man were in the Mario Kart arcade games. And the Rosalina Smash Brothers trailer from December 2013 made everybody kind of think like, oh, is Kirby gonna be in Mario Kart 8? That's strange. Like, it just feels natural to have some Nintendo characters in Mario Kart just as, you know, flat out playable characters. So much so that a lot of people have been kind of pushing for like, oh, the next Mario Kart after Mario Kart 8, that should be Super Smash Kart. I have a certain little opinion about that. I just think that's like the lamest possible direction. I mean, I'd like it. But at the same time, like, okay, that's the core gimmick of the next Mario Kart. They've already done that. They've already done Nintendo characters in Mario Kart. That's kind of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's shtick. That was Mario Kart 8's DLC's shtick. So it's not like this hasn't been done before. It would be cool, yeah, but I don't really think that would hold together a brand new Mario Kart, personally. Mainly because, like, we've already gotten that to a smaller extent, but still. But when this DLC launched, man, I mean, like, it was unlike anything else. DLC Pack 1 launched in November of 2014, and it was incredible. These tracks were amazing. So they were kind of a mix of old tracks and new tracks. You know, we had some returning ones like Wario's Gold Mine, SNES Rainbow Road, Yoshi's Circuit from GameCube, and the DLC tracks actually kind of broke an unspoken of Mario Kart rule up to that point. Pretty much like ever since Mario Kart DS, if a track got a remake in one game, you don't remake it in the next or the game after that or the game after that. You know, the only tracks eligible for a remake in Mario Kart Wii were the tracks that weren't remade in Mario Kart DS, and the only tracks eligible for a remake in Mario Kart 7 weren't remade in DS and Wii. So as time went on, the list of available tracks started to dwindle. That was kind of like a dumb little rule because, like, if you remade a track in Mario Kart DS, you could still remake it in Wii, and it would be like a completely different experience. Because like DS remake tracks are just like, they're not like, who cares? Because Yoshi's Circuit came back in Mario Kart DS, SNES Rainbow Road came back in Mario Kart 7, but here they are in Mario Kart 8. And they play quite a bit differently than they did in those remake versions from previous games. You know, hey, they got Mario Kart 8 style and funk now. And the new tracks, oh my god, so beautiful. So yeah, Mute City from F-Zero, absolutely incredible. The Hyrule Circuit track, oh my god. And then the Excite Bike Arena track. I really love that one just because it's so simple, but it's so joyful. I love that it kind of takes the core of what Excite Bike is, just about doing tricks off of ramps, and it makes an entire Mario Kart track out of it, and it's really fun and it's really unique. I have a soft spot for simpler Mario Kart tracks. They're never my favorite, but it's just I have a soft spot for them. And then DLC Pack 2, that took a lot longer to come out, strangely enough. That came out in like April, springtime of 2015, and that was more themed around Animal Crossing. But it was pretty much just Animal Crossing and another F-Zero track, this one being Big Blue, which was also pretty wild. I will always still kind of look at Mute City as more memorable for me, mainly because DLC Pack 2 didn't hit as well. I think it kind of took a little too long to come out for me personally, because by this point I was a little kind of like, you know, ready to move on to the next thing, I guess. But one thing that DLC Pack 2 introduced, which was pretty wild, it was 200cc. And by wild, I mean bullshit. Yeah, the way they announced this in the April 1st, 2015 Nintendo Direct was garbage. They like made it seem like this was a big moment in history. They were like, the Mario Kart series has been a part of our lives for decades, and now we're about to take it to the next level. 200cc. Yeah, it is a completely different experience from 150cc, and not in a good way. I think 200cc in regular ass Mario Kart 8 is not fun. It's too fast. It's not fun, man. But yeah, each DLC pack kind of came with a free update alongside it. You know, you got some extra little things. The DLC pack 1 launched alongside the amiibo costumes, which this was pretty cool. They actually added more in the DLC Pack 2 update as well, and they had some cool ones in there. They got the third parties on board. So if you had like a third-party character from Smash Brothers Amiibo, Sonic, Pac-Man, Mega Man, you could get costumes with those, which was pretty banging, man. And yeah, that was pretty much like the full lifespan of Mario Kart 8 on Wii U. It pretty much lasted a full year of like the full-blown content updates. But this was sort of like the go-to Wii U game from there on out. There was a bunch of different Wii U bundles with this included. Eventually, I think like one of the last major Wii U bundles that I remember like being on store shelves until like the Switch got announced and you know, the Wii U was pretty much over, was the bundle with Mario Kart 8 and the DLC included. But the bundle I always wanted is the one that I have now. It was the bundle that launched right alongside this game in May of 2014. I really always wanted that one because it came with an exclusive Mario-themed Wii wheel, and I found that interesting because most of the Wii wheels released around Mario Kart 8 because, you know, a lot of accessories were on store shelves. You could get, you know, you could still use, like, the Wii wheel with this and all of that. And most of the ones that were offered were third-party. Like, Nintendo wasn't making them because, well, why would they? This isn't like the go-to way to play Mario Kart 8. You can do it if you want, but it's not necessary. But I found it interesting because the Wii wheel included in the Wii U bundle was an official Nintendo-made one. So I was like, I gotta get that. And that's the story of how I wasted hundreds of dollars on a brand new Wii U inbox like 2 years ago. Moving on. Yeah, so Mario Kart 8 just kind of coasted along being a solid Wii U game to get, you know, the Wii U game to get for a while there. But then we enter like October of 2016. 2016 was a pretty rough year for Nintendo fans. I've gone into this pretty extensively. It was literally all just about building up to what their next console was. I mean, like, keep in mind, like, January of 2016, people were speculating, like, okay, they're gonna reveal it this month, every single month. Okay, this month. Okay, this month. Waited till October, man. And one morning, I woke up before my day at college. See, that's the thing. Like I was in college at this point. This is my freshman year of college. And yeah, I started playing Mario Kart 8, like, at the end of my sophomore year of high school. So about a month and a half into my freshman year of college, I woke up one morning, and this was the morning that Nintendo said, like, hey, this is when we're revealing NX. And I refreshed their YouTube channel, and boom, first look at Nintendo Switch trailer. What a magical day looking back at that all. It was just so interesting, you know, like, I love when stuff like that happens, because, like, that trailer was so perfect in, like, teasing things and showing you exactly what that system was, because it got you thinking, and it's just something that you could discuss for months until the Switch presentation in 2017, and that gave you stuff to discuss for months on end. You know, like, I love when stuff like that happens. And that Switch trailer showed off a lot of unique, interesting things. One of them being Mario Kart 8 footage. Now, most of the time, when Nintendo is showing off, like, stuff that is just supposed to be a demonstration, in quotes, they always say, what you see in this video is not meant to be, like, a full-fledged game. It's just meant for demonstration purposes. That's almost always a lie with Nintendo. Like, everything they show is pretty much always meant to release in some way. And you can just chalk it up to, like, they just wanted to show, like, them playing Mario Kart, and this is a Mario Kart that just came out, easy peasy, whatever. But they had exclusive characters in this mode. They had dual item slots. This was not base Mario Kart 8. This was obviously something else. A Mario Kart 8 port. That's interesting, because I was never expecting that. You know, I believe before all of this, there was, like, rumors going around that Nintendo was porting Wii U games to Nintendo NX, with specifically Splatoon, Mario Maker, and Smash Brothers being discussed. And those all made perfect sense. How I believe, like, Xenoblade Chronicles X was talked about there too. That would have made sense as well. Mario Kart, I think everybody just kind of assumed, like, oh, they would just make a new Mario Kart for that system. Obviously. So it was kind of shocking to see, like, Mario Kart 8, and not just like, oh, they're just using footage of Mario Kart 8 as a demo. No, this was very obviously supposed to be like an upgraded version of Mario Kart 8, which is not something we were really used to with this franchise. So yeah, that was very strange. And then the Nintendo Switch presentation 2017 happened, and all throughout that presentation, they would just randomly, like, have, you know, like, when they would show renders of the Switch doing its thing, they'd have footage of Mario Kart. And guess what? They had footage of the battle mode in this game, and it looked like an actual goddamn battle mode. But they didn't talk about this game, actually, at the event. They waited until afterwards to post, like, a trailer online. And there it was, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, showing off a new and improved battle mode, like a fully fleshed out battle mode with actual battle maps and brand new playable characters, including the Inklings from Splatoon. That was the new Nintendo crossover character. They later demoed the game during like the Nintendo Treehouse live streams after the presentation, and it was said that this game was coming out like a month and a half after the Switch launched in April of 2017. And you know what, man? This was an oddball one because, it was getting rumored that this game would include, like, a way better battle mode, new characters, which was true, but then new tracks. New tracks were also kind of rumored, and that didn't happen. This was just, the DLC is all included here. All the tracks, everything is included in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But no new tracks. It's all primarily about the battle mode. This pretty much is Mario Kart 8 Definitive Edition with a couple of tweaks here and there, because there are some gameplay differences between Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like we already said, dual item slots, so they kind of get rid of the singular item slot here. But not only that, but they go all the way with it. There are dual item boxes like from Double Dash, and you can get 2 items at once. It doesn't really change like how you use them. It's more so like you just have 2 items in your reserve. Definitely a tweak to how it's played. And they also do it in a smart way where it's not entirely like previous games with holding 2 items at once or anything. So I like it, though I still will always appreciate the Mario Kart 8 way of doing things. There's also another level of drift, so if you drift long enough, you can get another level of like your turbo boost there. And then you go even faster if you hold a drift for as long as possible. I think that's about it. Nothing crazy. It is pretty much just Mario Kart 8 again. But it is a bit nicer. There's also a brand new item, the Boo item, which is pretty inconsequential. It's just kind of, it's kind of cute that it's here, The Boo items have been missing for a while, so it is cool that it's back and it's in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But they also have the Feather item, which is exclusive to Battle Mode. Who the cares? The Battle Mode is the star of the show here. That was the main focus of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is really cool. It has a killer Battle Mode. They go all out with this thing. Everywhere but the tracks. The tracks, like, it's not as many as, like, Mario Kart Wii, which is a little disappointing. But the amount of modes in battle mode is insane. You have Balloon Battle, Coin Runners, Shine Thief, Bob-omb Blast, and then Renegade Roundup, a brand new one. And, yeah, I still think it's really unfortunate that they force you into a time limit mode. Like you can't just go for, like, last man standing battle mode. I'm just kind of like, listen, online, sure. By all means, time limit on online matches. But come on, like, why can't I just get an option to just turn off the time limit when I'm playing locally and just go for as long as possible? The new battle tracks are good, but they're obviously based on pre-existing assets. They all have equivalents in the actual track list. You have like one that looks exactly like Sweet Sweet Canyon. You have another that's pretty much Dragon Driftway, another that's basically Mario Kart Stadium. Obviously, you need a Splatoon track with the Inklings being here, so they do have Urchin Underpass as a battle mode track, which is very fitting for a Splatoon themed track. That's really cool. It would be even cooler if it got a racetrack, but whatever. But I also will say, in terms of other tweaks they made, I think 200cc, I've never looked into if 200cc is actually fully adjusted in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I can do 200cc in 8 Deluxe. I think it's way more manageable and way more balanced than it was in Mario Kart 8. Now, maybe because I actually learned how to play it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You have to brake, man. It's all about braking in 200cc. And it still isn't like my go-to. I'll still always go with 150, but 200cc, actually not bad in here. They have pretty much everything unlocked from the get-go, which is either really cool or really lame, depending on how you like it. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I think it's better because, like, I already played, like, hundreds of hours of Mario Kart 8, so it's like, do I really care about unlocking Baby Wario? But you still have to unlock kart parts. And also, Gold Mario is an unlockable skin for Metal Mario if you get 3 stars on all of the 200cc tracks. So that's pretty cool. I'll give them that. 8 Deluxe is a great update to Mario Kart 8. It truly makes Mario Kart 8 like a fully well-rounded experience. But when it initially came out, and I got some good memories of this one when it came out. I mean, like, this was finishing up my freshman year of college, and I had a great freshman year of college. It was a good time. It was in that, like, good, like, middle ground between you have so much more freedom than you did in high school, but you don't have the crushing responsibilities of an adult fully yet. So you still have that feeling of, like, being able to dick around, do whatever you want, without feeling like, oh man, tax season's coming up, eh? And I think I actually picked this up, like this was like day of my finals or something. Like, I pretty much fully finished. I didn't have anything else to do. Went to Target, got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe alongside Puyo Puyo Tetris. That came out alongside, not fully alongside, but it came out around this release date. So, yeah, that was a pretty good time. And, yeah, I really enjoyed playing through this again, even though, you know, it was kind of like, yep, this is Mario Kart 8 again. I've played Mario Kart 8. I think it was mostly down to, like, it's nice to have this on the new system. You know, a new system, it's just nice to have that go-to online multiplayer game you can always depend on, you can always come back to. Mario Kart is that. So to have that at the launch, I think was incredibly smart of Nintendo. It was a bit of, like, an unprecedented thing for them to do, you know, to just kind of, like, put out the last-gen Mario Kart on your new generation system. But it obviously worked out for them. I think it kind of came down to the fact that Mario Kart 8 was so well received. I mean, everybody was praising its gameplay, its visuals, everything. And you already made all this DLC for it, and a year later, you're putting out a new system, and like the system Mario Kart 8 was on sold like dick. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, put this on the new system so then people can actually experience it, which was the smartest thing Nintendo has ever done. However, at the launch of this, I remember the online severely disappointed me, mainly because, like, the online in this game I found to be way spottier, way worse than the Wii U game. Now, of course, these days, I feel like if I'd hop on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online, I would have a much better time, but I just remember, like, the online really stunk ass in this game originally, whereas the Wii U version, I always had a pretty good time with it. But based on how well this was selling at the time, I think everybody was kind of going like, oh, well, they should make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. They should make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC? Never happened. I never expected it to happen. I was just kind of like, no, they're probably just going to move on to the next Mario Kart. And like 3 years later, I'm like, well, they would have done it already if they were going to do it. But they still kind of sprinkled in some little updates here and there. They added Nintendo Labo vehicle support. So you have the motorbike with Nintendo Labo, and you also have the vehicle kit. Yeah, you got support for those in Mario Kart eventually via a free update. Wow. And then they also updated the game eventually to give a new costume for Link based on Breath of the Wild, and you also got a different version of the Master Cycle in the game, which actually inspired the Master Cycle Zero in the Breath of the Wild DLC, which then came on over to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So you can use the Master Cycle Zero in this game, which is pretty cool. These are all pretty unnecessary free updates, but they did them anyway, so you gotta give them that. That is like the one thing Nintendo is really good at, really unnecessary free updates. But yeah, man, this thing just kept on selling. Like just mind-boggling numbers. This is kind of the go-to Switch game to pick up. I think it was like the smartest thing ever that this came out so close to launch, because it's always been there throughout the entire Switch's life. If you're picking up the Switch, here's a Mario Kart game with literally all content you could ever want in it. You have like 48 tracks in this, like dozens upon dozens of characters. It is the go-to Mario Kart. And it was like the go-to Nintendo Switch bundle for Black Friday. Every single year comes with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, naturally. But yeah, it is very strange that the Switch like doesn't really have like a Mario Kart to call its own. Or does it? Because in 2020, we got Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. That's the Switch's Mario Kart. Suck it up. Very strange. I mean, like Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is much more of a toy rather than like a new Mario Kart or even a video game at that point. It is an RC car toy with a video game element to it. It's cool. It's cool for what it is. But if you treat it like a video game, it is so goddamn, like, lame. It's a toy. But treat it as a toy, you're gonna have a great time with it that way. If you treat it as, like, a video game kind of thing, nuh-uh, no. But it's pretty obvious. The Mario Kart team was mainly focused on Mario Kart Tour throughout this generation, because only 2 years after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart Tour launched on mobile. So that all kind of makes sense. That starts to actually add up when it comes to how long it takes between Mario Kart entries. I mean, like, what? It was 3 years between Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So there's your 3-year wait. And then it was roughly that amount of time between Mario Kart Live Home Circuit and learning that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was finally getting DLC. God damn it, I messed up. Yeah, so randomly in February of 2022, Nintendo finally announced Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC after I was so damn adamant that I was smarter than everybody else. I said there's no way they're doing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. Nah, like 5 years too late, they did it. And yeah, the Booster Course Pass was pretty damn wild. They pretty much announced that to be going into 2023. So that meant 2 more years of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That also meant 2 years without any new Mario Kart. Of course, the Booster Course Pass was really damn exciting at first. And then it became deflating. And then it became a little more deflating when the tracks actually released. And then it got better again because then, you know, I don't know. There was a range of emotions with this thing. It's like 48 remastered courses coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Oh my god, that's like double the game. And then you actually look at the tracks and you realize like, oh, these aren't at the same level of quality as base Mario Kart 8. And these are very obviously kind of taken from Mario Kart Tour on mobile. Now the thing is, Mario Kart Tour is a good looking game. It's a good looking mobile game, and even taking these courses, you know, like, and just putting them on Switch, they look fine, they look nice, but they do clash with Mario Kart 8, which was already like such an amazing looking game. So now you have new tracks that, you know, are years down the line and they just don't look at the same quality, you know? And that deflation really did set in when the tracks actually released. They were fun, they were good, but like, yeah, it was very obvious, like playing Toad-ass Circuit 3DS, my lord, like, why, man? But then as things went on, it started to get more exciting for me, you know? Like, I just kind of realized, like, hey, it's either this or nothing. This doesn't necessarily take away from a new Mario Kart. I just don't think Nintendo would have done a new Mario Kart regardless on the Nintendo Switch. So this kind of DLC is taking content from Mario Kart Tour and almost immortalizing it in many ways, you know? Because Mario Kart Tour requires an online connection to function. So when those servers go down, all this content is just going kaput. So in this way, it's an actual method to enjoy the most substantial Mario Kart Tour content in a better game, but also give Mario Kart fans something to actually do for a bit if Nintendo wasn't gonna actually make a new game. Plus, they added it to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack subscription, so that definitely gave that subscription tier of their online service more weight, like, oh, I pay $50 a year and I get all these classic games, plus I get the Mario Kart 8 DLC for free. It's kind of a no-brainer decision to make. It just made all the sense in the world. And the Booster Course Pass, when everything was said and done, was pretty cool. I mean, like, I kind of wish there was a bit more put into it. I feel like as it went on, the developers realized more and more like, oh, well, let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this. Because originally it was just 48 tracks, and then they were like, no, let's add new characters, or at least characters from previous Mario Kart games. And then for the final wave, you know, there were only 2 slots left on the character select screen, so it's like, okay, there's only gonna be 2 characters left, and then they're like, no, more than 2 characters. It's just like non-stop. And they also added an update that allowed you to select whatever items you wanted to be in the item roulette. You could disable some items, you could only have like a match with only blue shells. Like, What was going on here? They did so much more to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe after, like, never touching the game for years. But when everything is said and done, you know, like, Wave 6 of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC pretty much wrapped up around the 10-year anniversary of Mario Kart 8. It's not entirely accurate, but, you know, like, it's close enough. It was, like, 6 months away from the 10-year anniversary of Mario Kart 8. So how did this damn thing last that long? I feel like it kind of makes sense when I kind of go through the whole history of this game in its entirety. You know, it came at the appropriate time in the Wii U's life and got DLC, which was awesome, which definitely prolonged its life. And it was definitely a necessary thing, you know, like Mario Kart. I can't imagine Mario Kart without DLC at this point. And then by the time we were expecting a new Mario Kart, that development time probably got a little delayed due to the DLC development in Mario Kart 8. But either way, by the time that we would start maybe hearing about a new one, the Nintendo Switch was launching. And the Nintendo Switch wasn't necessarily like, oh, Nintendo's next generation. Rather, it felt more so like a full-on replacement for the Wii U. And you could have developed a brand new Mario Kart for the Nintendo Switch, but it probably would have taken until like 2018 at the earliest to come out, probably closer to like 2019 if we're being real there. And Nintendo wasn't messing around with the Switch. They wanted to make sure it had a killer first year. It was lined up to have the new Zelda game that was groundbreaking in every single way as a launch title, and then a brand new 3D Mario sandbox game with Mario Odyssey coming later that year. That was more than enough, but Mario Kart is kind of what gets everybody together on a Nintendo platform, and Mario Kart 8 still looked great. I don't really know what you could have done visually to like improve it in 2017. It released on a bum-ass platform, did very well on there, selling like 8 million units. Pretty much everybody that owned a Wii U owned Mario Kart 8, but nobody owned a Wii U. So it made sense to put an upgraded port out on Nintendo's Switch, fix a couple of the issues people had with the original, include all the DLC. You have an amazing package right there. And because it came so early on in the system's life, it was always there, and it's the best Mario Kart overall. I mean, like, I would say games like Mario Kart Wii are still really fun to play these days. Like, I feel like I just get a lot of enjoyment out of playing Mario Kart Wii, mainly because, like, Mario Kart 8, I love Mario Kart 8, but goddamn, I am tired of Mario Kart 8. But removing any and all bias from the equation, I don't want to hear anybody make any arguments as to why, like, Mario Kart Double Dash is the best in the series when it's, like, guys, I know we all like pretty much all of the Mario Kart games, but there's one true winner of the best Mario Kart. There's no debate. I don't understand how there could be. I mean, there could have been a debate before the Booster Course Pass was added to the game. But now after, I mean, like, even if the Booster Course Pass tracks may not be at, like, the same level as the base game, like, it's still, like, it's the best Mario Kart. It's just plain and simple. So yeah, it was there from the very start. Best in the series, pretty much. I just feel like Nintendo didn't really think there was much point to making a new Mario Kart on the Nintendo Switch console. This one was selling so damn well each and every year. It just didn't make much sense, which is strange because, you know, other games on the Nintendo Switch that were Wii U ports have gone, you know, like Nintendo Switch original games. You know, you have New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and then you have Super Mario Bros. Wonder. You have Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and then Pikmin 4. And then games like Splatoon. I mean, Splatoon 2 isn't a port, it's its own game, but it was definitely heavily built off of Splatoon 1, and put out very early on in the Switch's life. And it was a bit lacking in content at first, but definitely kind of grew over time. And then we got Splatoon 3. And just the mere fact we got 2 Splatoon games on the Nintendo Switch, but no fully original Mario Kart is crazy. Because you know everybody is begging for a new Mario Kart, but I think Nintendo just kind of wanted to keep the good times rolling with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, this was still being sold at 60 bones. Never really truly went on sale, and even if it did, it got the fake-ass Nintendo sale of like, oh, it's $48 now. Like, pfft, get out of here. So when you sell like 50 plus million units at 60 bucks a pop, yeah, I mean, like, I think Nintendo kind of just made this the Nintendo Switch's go-to Mario Kart game. There is no reason to make a new one. this was it. Because like I said, it very much feels like the Nintendo Switch wasn't really the sequel to the Wii U, even though it was, you know, and don't get me twisted here. I think in many ways, it was more so a replacement. And the Mario Kart team, I think they were busy doing some other things for a bit there. They developed ARMS, so you know their time was well spent. But either way, it's been a very interesting 10 years of Mario Kart 8. It wasn't something happening all the time, but every couple of years there was something substantial going on, you know? And it's just crazy to me how much Nintendo got out of a Wii U game from 2014. It's kind of a similar story to Smash Brothers, how pretty much like Smash Brothers development just kept going from like 2012 to like 2021, because pretty much directly after Smash Brothers Wii U wrapped up development, they just went immediately into Smash Brothers Ultimate. But Mario Kart 8 seems like a bit of a different thing. I don't think anybody was consistently working on Mario Kart 8. I think it was more so like, you know, they just do stuff and then they'd stop and then they'd come back to it and then they stop and then they'd come back to it again and then they stop. But if any Mario Kart honestly deserved to last as long as it did, I mean, it makes total sense it was Mario Kart 8. I mean, like, the gameplay was the tightest of any in the series. Presentation-wise, it was off the chart. The tracks in this game are unbelievable. Some of the best in the whole series. It does have its downsides. Not a perfect game. Even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, with everything it fixed from the original Wii U game, still not perfect. Like I said, there's a distinct lack of personality in this game. Just something you got with like Mario Kart Double Dash, or the fact that Mario Kart DS had all these extra modes. You had the mission mode. You could draw your own little emblem on your cart. Just all this kind of just funny stuff, or even just like dumb characters. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has some interesting ones with the Nintendo crossover picks, but I want something foul. Give me something like the damn Honey Queen from like Mario Kart 7. I mean, like that's so rancid. I love it. But in the end, if any Mario Kart could last 10 years, it was obviously this one. No more, no less. Get this shit out of my face. I want a new game, for God's sakes.